here who has lived in Des Moines for the past 10 years. And I did add the S. So in case you guys didn't catch it, I did.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Last year, between March and August, I hiked the Appalachian Trail from Springer Mountain, Georgia to Mount Katahdin in Maine. And there's quite a few questions I'm always asked whenever people learn that. And so I'm going to tell you about the hike and hopefully answer most of your questions. So first of all, I did not carry a gun, and I didn't need to. Second of all, I did read A Walk in the Woods, but only after I decided to go. This book called You Are Here is actually the one that planted the idea in my head. It's a book of maps, and it's a very cool book. I highly recommend it. So in the beginning, starting at low elevations, you can see no leaves on the trees yet. It's all nice and easy. And then this is day 4. It was not a comfortable night. Luckily, this was the worst I encountered for fresh snow. There was some deeper, more harsh snow on the shaded side of the tallest mountain on the trail, but that was the worst of it. Big question is, where did you get your water and your food? And water is available everywhere in the woods. I think the longest I had to go was about 15 miles before I could get to new water, and you just treat it with iodine or a filter. Everyone does their own thing. But there's streams, and then there are springs. And springs are nice and fresh. And if you look hard, you can see that they pipe this as a spring, and it just comes into the bathtub. So that was some of the freshest water on the whole trail. It was wonderful. If you get it from a stream, you're going to be more likely to treat it. So food, we hit towns every 3 to 4 days, and I want to point a couple things out. This is a 600-calorie honey bun, and that is considered a wonderful breakfast on the trail because it's got so much fat and so many calories. But there's also blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, wild raspberries. You can have a feast out there sometimes. Where did you sleep? There were these shelters. They're basically 3-sided buildings with a hardwood floor. You can see how tightly packed we would have been in there. And I slept in those about 50 nights on the trail. I slept in my tent about 30, hostels 25 times, hotels, B&Bs 25 times, and then friends' houses. My parents in New York, I went up and stayed with them for a couple of days. So there's always plenty of places to sleep. You can set up a tent anywhere, even the places where it's illegal. And then there are people who also sleep in hammocks now, and that's a whole other ballgame. Where'd you go to the bathroom? Well, it's the woods, so you can go anywhere. But the shelters almost all had privies, and you can see the level of privacy varied significantly. But even the privies on the Appalachian Trail have wonderful views. That view was the same one that was above it. How many bears? 17. Most of them were in the Shenandoah National Park along North Carolina, Tennessee. And the bears are much more afraid of you than you are them. Almost all of them ran away, and the ones that didn't run away weren't terribly close. But there were also tons of other animals. It was my first time that I ever saw a porcupine in the wild. Luckily, he wasn't misbehaving. The timber rattlers were the scariest animal on the trail, and I did encounter one that, was all coiled and rattled at me. And that was pretty scary. This gray jay was incredibly friendly. He came up to everyone. The trail conditions vary widely. I can't tell you that there was one way that described the trail every day. In the one on the right, you can see mud and roots. This is the ideal. Whenever that happened, it was exciting and a great day. And then the rocks up in the top are less than ideal. So I love baseball, and I was really going to miss having the I-Cubs in town and being able to go to baseball games. So I made a point to make it to baseball games along the trail, and I hit a total of 7 major and minor league games. And so you can see very early and much later with the big hair. And then the hiking community is part of what makes the trail. And you can see that there are quite a few characters out there. This guy here went by the name of Try. He's 78, and he was going to hike the whole thing. I got ahead of him, and I believe he got off but was getting back on. The guy in the hat in the center, completely blind. and he was hiking almost the entire trail. He skipped some of the most dangerous sections. And the guy on the right, Caribou, from Rochester, New York, he's completely deaf, but he had a dog with him that was the most well-behaved dog on the trail, and just wonderful people everywhere. We're going to get to see some great views, but I want you to see that it wasn't always great. This was coming up to Klingman's Dome in the Smokies. This is the highest point on the trail. And of course, I had no view at all. This happened to me a lot in the South. You'd work so hard to get up a mountain, and then you had nothing to see. And this was my favorite picture of the whole hike. I was starting off early in the morning one day. I was headed to town, so I was already pretty excited. It was foggy, and then the fog finally started to break, and the light came through the trees, and it was just magical. And I was headed to town, so it meant I got good food. I found Maine to be the most beautiful state on the trail. This is one of those photos from Maine. By the time you hit Maine, you've only got 280 miles left. So you're excited. You're rushing. You know it's not that far anymore. And this is my first view of Mount Katahdin at the end of the trail. So I've got over 2,100 miles done. Everything's cake at this point. And that Mount Katahdin is like the destination. It's in your head. You're thinking about it a lot on the trail. And some days, thoughts of this picture was all that motivated me to keep going, because I wanted to earn the picture at the summit of Mount Katahdin. And I just want to say I am a short, out-of-shape guy, and anyone can hike the trail if you want to go out for the adventure. About 26% of the people who start the trail each year intending to finish actually do. And it's a great experience even if you don't finish.
What was your name?
Shorts.